Una saluto, welcome for this channel. Today we want to talk about General Tchemo German, where he received the criticism for go retirement. He in reach for Biya ish, and for Biya dey na Switzerland. Major General Meka still dey service. Then they ask me go rest. And for this particular video, I go explain for you now why he dey deny say no one go rest. But we want to make sure say we don't check the information and that it match reality. So an 84 years old general refuses to leave his office. A presidential decree is read on national television, and yet this morning the officer is in question keeps working as if nothing happened. This isn't fiction. This is Cameroon, July 30th, 2026. I am Cyril the Mayor. Welcome to Balafon Live on Filter African Political Information. Before we get into it, a word for those joining us for the first time. Cameroon Update is not a channel built on political entertainment. We don't chase conflict for its own sake. We aim to understand, verify, and give you the facts with the rigor you deserve. Today, General Tchemo Ector Marie and what his case reveal about the real state of Cameroon's military command. Let's observe that on July 28, 2026, a presidential decree admitted Division General Tchemo Ector Marie to the deuxième section, second section. Officially, this is the standard procedure for the honorary retirement of senior officers under the French military tradition Cameroons follow. The general was born in 1942 in Biya, the same locality like Maurice Camto in the West region. Went to school in Saint-Cyr, the Paris War College, decades of command, including the multinational force of Central Africa and the post of Deputy Major General at the Army Staff, a record that will command respect in any army in the world. But here is what raises question. Several sources, including some of relayed by journalists on the ground, claim the general keeps showing up at his office, that he has reportedly questioned the very authenticity of the decree set to be signed by the President of the Republic on leave, and that he is said to have the backing of several senior officers urging him not to comply. Why is this affair taking such a weight? Because it is unfolding in a particular context where the Army Chief of Staff, General René-Claude Meka, on the order still has been absent from public view for several weeks, officially for health reasons, with no clear indication or institutional communication. And the President of the Republic himself, Biya, remains away from the country, reported to be in Switzerland. It is this combination, a sick and silent chief and an absent head of state and a deputy being abruptly pushed out, that is fueling controversial questions about a possible reshufflement of power at the top of the army. I owe you honesty here in this platform. At this stage, some claims circulating, particularly ones naming specific clans at the presidency, cannot be independently verified. We mention them because they are part of the public debate, not because we are endorsing them. That distinction is exactly what separates a serious outlet from a rumor mill. What is established, a decree exists, a high-ranking officer is publicly contesting it, and the Cameroon's military institution is going through an unusual moment of uncertainty at its summit. Well, we will keep following this story in the coming days with the same standards verified before we accept. I want to speak directly now to those of you who have been following us for months now, some of you for years, those of you who are around 45 to 60, who have lived through several examples, several leadership, several government, several promises, several disappointments. You don't need to be shouted at to get your attention. You just need to be respected. Every script you hear on this channel represents hours of work, reading official decrees, cross-checking sources, verifying biographies, putting things in historical perspective. This isn't improvised between two meetings. It is work. It is work whose only ambition is to earn your trust, a trust that for many of you has been betrayed so often by institutions and the media alike. We know you don't have time to read 50 contradictory statements. That is our job, to do it for you and give you what matters without talking down to you. If this work is useful to you, there is one simple action that matters more than you might think: sharing this video. Not because an algorithm need it, but because a cousin, an old classmate, a colleague deserve access to verified information instead of an unsourced rumor on WhatsApp. Subscribe, turn on notification. That is not a small gesture. It is what allowed us to keep existing against channels with far greater resources than ours and who don't always carry the same commitment to rigor. And for those who can, joining our membership isn't a luxury. We are asking of you to enrich ourselves. It is what forms the hour of verification, the field work, the exchanges with our sources on the ground. Every member, even at the most modest time, extend our ability to keep doing this work without depending on anyone who might want to bend our editorial line. What you are funding isn't a channel, it is your own right to independent information. I know many of you ask yourself, sometimes with wireness, what is the point of sharing, commenting? Nothing changes. I understand that. But look at the distance already covered. Affairs that used to be still locked in the corridor of Yaoundé are now debated publicly, including by the diaspora, including by fellow citizens who 10 years ago would never have had access to this level of detail about their country's institutional life. Verified information shared widely ends up carrying weight. It forces institutions to communicate. It forces silences to justify themselves. It is not an instant victory, but it is a balance of power being built patiently with you. Your engagement, a share, a thoughtful comment, a subscription is never an isolated gesture. It is a brick in a collective structure that over time makes impunity and institutional silence harder to sustain. We will keep following the Tchemo's affair in the coming days using the same methods, observing, verifying, and informing you without filter. For your trust, thank you for your loyalty, and thank you sincerely for every share. It's been Cyril, the man from Balafon Live, Cameroon Wahala. I'll be yours again. See you very soon.